Hello and welcome. I'm Maria Ressa. This is your 6 p.m. wrap. President Rodrigo Duterte says he wants the Philippines to end the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement with the United States.
You have the EDCA. Well, forget it. If I stay here long enough, one day that EDCA will, if it's an executive agreement, then I will just...
Duterte says this before departing for Japan after earlier statements he wanted EDCA reviewed.
I look forward to the time when I no longer see any military troops or soldier in my country except the Filipino soldier. That's the long and short of it. I want an independent policy that daw pasunod-sunod ba si kanino.
Last week, Duterte said he was cutting military and economic ties with the U.S., later clarifying he only wanted a separate foreign policy. Outgoing U.S. Ambassador Philip Goldberg says the U.S. wants to maintain its military presence in Mindanao. Goldberg says the security threat in Mindanao is, quote, very serious. He warns ISIS was among the number of foreign militant organizations trying to increase its involvement there. The U.S. deployed a rotating force of about 600 troops in Mindanao from 2002 to 2014 to train local soldiers. Goldberg says, quote, we're concerned obviously about any new intrusion of ISIS or any other group that wants to take advantage of open space in the south of the Philippines, so we want to continue doing that. President Rodrigo Duterte says United States Assistant Secretary of State Daniel Russel asked him to, quote, tone down his rhetoric against America.
Kahapon, tumawag si Secretary Asay. Nandito raw ito siya. Ang sabi ni, nag-usap daw sila, sabi na if we can just tone down our rhetorics against America. So huwag ninyo akong ganunin.
Duterte was annoyed.
Every time sabihin, they threaten us na pati itong iyo. Akala mo mas bright kayo sa atin. Tapos sabihin na, be careful, we will put you in prison. Putang ina, subukan mo.
Russel earlier said Duterte's anti-American tirades were, in his words, hurtful and mystifying and caused consternation in a number of countries, not just the United States. Duterte insists the U.S. began this word war after U.S. Ambassador Philip Goldberg commented on his controversial rape remark during election campaigns.
Alam mo, hindi ako nag-una nitong away na to eh. Ang nag-una sila. Remember, ipunot dulo nito, yung election, I made a comment, a narration of an actual event which happened in Davao, and which was covered by all media outlets there. Tapos, the ambassador said something not very nice.
President Duterte says China's nearly 90 million peso donation for Super Typhoon Lawin recovery efforts have, quote, no strings attached. The Chinese embassy gave 50 million pesos, Chinese government 35 million pesos, the Chinese Red Cross 4.8 million pesos. Duterte says, quote, these will go a long way to rehabilitate and return the people, our countrymen, to their normal life. This comes a few days after Duterte returned from his state visit to Beijing, where he inked bilateral cooperation agreements with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Outgoing U.S. Ambassador Philip Goldberg says Senator Alan Cayetano made an unpublicized trip to China in June that led to multi-billion-dollar deals with Beijing. Goldberg says, quote, I know that Senator Cayetano, President Duterte's running mate, made an unpublicized trip to China in June along with Secretary Tugade, and so all of this was actually in train, I think, and so there were already discussions going on. Cayetano on Tuesday confirms he went to China in June. When asked if Duterte instructed him, Cayetano answers, I cannot say. On the war on drugs, President Duterte says he plans to consult lawmakers about releasing his final list of drug personalities.
I will call maybe for a consensus dito sa itaas. Lahat ng mga senators, congressman. Kasi napakabigat ho ng problema na ito. At kung ako lang, sasabihin ko sa'yo, hindi ko kaya. Kasi hindi ko kaya. Anong gawin ko dito? Patayin ko lahat?
Duterte met with Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre last night to show them the list. He claims there are about, quote, 1,000 barangay captains and thousands of police personnel involved in drugs. He adds his list was revalidated by different government agencies. Earlier, he said he was thinking twice about publicly reading out the list because of the large number of names. This comes after he publicly named 5 police generals and around 160 government officials with links to the illegal drug trade. Twitter may be planning to cut some 300 jobs, or approximately 8% of its workforce, as early as this week. A Bloomberg report says the announcement may come before Twitter announces its third quarter earnings report on Thursday, October 27. The reports say the number of people to be cut was still fluid and subject to change. Twitter was earlier trying to explore the sale of the company, but interested companies eventually backed out.
That's your 6 p.m. wrap. Watch our daily updates, 12 noon and 6 p.m. I'm Maria Ressa. Remember, tomorrow begins today.